Okay, everybody, welcome to yet another episode. At this point, it's episode 3 of what I have affectionately begun calling the Scrubcast. I did actually look this up, and it appears as though there's somebody else out there that does a Scrubcast of sorts. And they have quite a few views, so I guess there's hope for this channel to lift up off the ground, although I might have to find another name. I don't want to steal from their thunder. But this is a different kind of Scrubcast. This is not the kind of Scrubcast you might otherwise find. One second, I got to fix my audio here. Okay, so we are back. I had to fix the audio there. So the point of this particular Scrubcast is to be a scrub, not make fun of scrubs, and to learn from professional Dota 2 players to see what is it that they do that makes them so effective. Why, for example, does Pili Dai's Lion get so much... why do people talk about it so highly? In this particular case, I actually had previously recorded a Scrubcast on the Pili Dai's Lion. You can see him get ready to TP there. It's the first thing he does. I have not published that yet, but I will soon. But in this particular case, Secret lost. So I don't want to follow Pili Dai. I want to follow the Disruptor, which is played by Chuan. Chuan is obviously a legendary player. He's playing for Newbee at the moment, and he plays a Disruptor. And when I watched the episode or this game previously and watched it from Pili Dai's perspective, they lost, and Chuan had a great deal to do with that. And he played a support role, 5th position support role. He was always buying wards, and so. Me being the scrub that I am, the horrible player that I am, I, along with perhaps you also being a horrible scrub player, would like to learn from Chuan. What is it that he does that makes him so effective? What little things has he picked up? And so that's what I'm going to do in this particular broadcast. It's going to be about 47 minutes long, 48 minutes long, and the point is to just follow Chuan. I'm not going to do big game analysis. I'm not going to do a play-by-play. I might do a little bit of that just to kind of see what's going on and explain what's going on. But for the most part, I'm just going to watch Chuan from beginning to very end so we can see, what sets up those ganks, what sets up the tower pushes, and why is it that Secret lost this game, in part due to Chuan. So, let's go ahead and get started here. The setup here is, as discussed in the previous broadcast, is we've got Secret. They're playing as the Radiant, and they have the Life Stealer, they have the Night Stalker, they have the Universe Darkseer, they have the Lion, the Queen of Pain, played by Arteezy. Then there's the Tusk, Invoker, Gyrocopter, Disruptor, and Bat Rider on Team Newbee. And let's go ahead and hit play and see what happens from the very beginning here. So the first thing is the team, looks like Chuan bought a courier there, a very old courier. And he goes back and purchases, although it looks like he got a new one there. He's got his little special courier there. He went ahead and got 3 Tangos, presumably gave one of those away to, looks like the Invoker. He has 2 Observer Wards, Clarity, Fairy Fire, which means he's going to do a little bit more damage he might otherwise do. Probably a lane dominance tool, as well as an Iron Branch. This particular setup tells me he plans to sit in the lane. He plans to try to dominate. Now, here's a 5-man smoke starting off the game. I'm going to put it on his perspective so we can see what he sees here. So he has no idea what's going on to the left of him. And notice his positioning. He is only 600 hit points. He is way far behind. He hasn't skilled anything yet. He's halfway through the smoke. He did not drop that ward. That was somebody else that dropped the ward.
30 seconds to
Tusk sees Eternal Envy and the Life Stealer. He actually, Disruptor, Chuan's actually so far away, he wasn't able to get into that snowball there. It's Arteezy a little bit, and looks like he might try to ward up, using the advantage of his team being on the high ground, and Secret being pushed down to the low ground and having no idea what's going on. He does not really start off as a 5th position here. Maybe he gave a ward away. I'm not sure. He's got 95 gold, so it sounds like he actually didn't buy that ward. Tusk is supporting a little bit too. So that's kind of nice. It allows him to get a few items so he can dominate the lane, and that's probably important. A Disruptor, my understanding, is not the best lane dominator out there. You can see he's actually got vision of Pylai Dai, where Pylai Dai plays the ward. He just pinged, tell everybody, hey, did you see that? That's exactly where the ward is, go get that. He told everybody, and I'm sure that somebody's buying a ward at this point. Or at least they know in the future, when they can get 200 gold and get some sentry wards. Okay, so he is laning here with the gyrocopter. It makes a lot of sense. He does not have an escape tool, except for perhaps a glimpse to sit in the off lane. And it appears as the Batrider's in the offlane, which is a pretty standard position. Now he is out of position. Unfortunately, he did not see Puppey come in on the Night Stalker. You got the Universe Ion Shell from Darkseer put on the Night Stalker. He's just going to get screwed here in lane because of the kind of bruiser effect, I'll say. But looks like they may get a return kill. Last minute wand charge, I believe. Some kind of little heal there by the Night Stalker. Survived. So he got screwed in the lane. He did not have a ward down there, and he gave away first blood. Not the best way to start, but as I told you, they win this game. So it doesn't matter all that much that happened. They go to pretty much dominate this entire game. And that's perhaps because the Gyro is so good at laning all by himself. In many ways, he should be able to deal with this dual lane, this offensive dual lane by Secret, because of his range, because of his ability to do significant damage from afar. And this is actually a defensive tri-lane. Tusk is sitting up here at the moment, I guess trying to ward off the aggression from the really powerful Ion Shell on Night Stalker combo. So I guess he's going to go ahead and roam away while Chuan stays in the lane, goes ahead and pulls. He does not stack, by the way. I see a lot of people saying, oh, you got to stack and then pull. I actually have yet to see that in my 3 scrub casts that I've done. He comes back, he goes ahead, he gets... Oh, that was really close there. He did not actually get the ice shards in the right position. So he missed the gank. They probably would have been able to get that gank. Now, Chuan goes ahead and goes for an early Thunder Strike. Perhaps to get vision, perhaps to just do a little bit of extra damage on the hero should there be a gank. He does not get the glimpse, and I guess that makes sense, although I think the glimpse might have worked like here, for example, where he could have just sent Puppey back. We'll see how he uses this Thunder Strike. So he has a TP scroll. He's used all of his regen at this point. He is going to have to be very careful sitting in the lane. At 3 minutes, he has no regen except for clarity. Of course, he hasn't really put out any damage. All he's done is really pull the lane for the carry, which is very important. But he really can't get into any serious fights right now. He will lose a fight against a Night Stalker. He knows that, unless he's got Tusk there to support him, and probably the Gyrocopter as well. Night Stalker is very, very tanky. So then he just pulls again. Goes ahead. He actually misses that one. It's actually a double pull. The Tusk goes ahead and helps out with that. Nice. Uses the ice shards to try to keep it as a double pull, but it actually doesn't succeed. I guess the timing was off there. So they're trying to go ahead, and you got 3 people in this lane. I mean, the problem with having 3 people in a lane like this is that you don't really get a ton of experience across 3 people. It's all that experience is shared, and you got an enemy who's just got 1 hero in the lane right now, which is Darkseer. And so Darkseer is going to get way higher level. He's going to have higher level Ion Shells. He's going to have more stats, and he's going to be able to do, if the Night Stalker comes in, which, by the way, he's probably Night Stalker's getting experience elsewhere. You can actually easily out-level 3 people and then dominate them in the lane. I think that's one of the reasons why you see in pubs, tri-lanes typically fail. People don't realize, I think that's because you've got a lot of experience on the dual lane or the single lane, and that person gets much higher level, and just a few extra levels on that hero is going to be better than 3 level 2s. He doesn't bother to a TP in to assist on that mid. Looks like this team handled it just fine, and he's of course watching this bottom lane, or this top lane, to be careful. He has not yet leveled his second skill. He's sitting around with it. He's about to get level 3. I'm guessing he wants to see kind of what comes down the lane, what happens before he goes ahead and puts a point in Glimpse or Kinetic Field. That was not a successful pull there. So he's really all he's doing in this lane so far. I mean, if you're going to summarize what he's doing, all he's doing in this lane is pulling. So for all of you scrub supports out there, he also puts a clarity on the gyrocopter. So he's not even using his own clarity. Pointing out that there's a Night Stalker walking through the jungle. Gyrocopter's going to back up behind the tower, make sure that he is not going to be exposed to a nasty Night Stalker gank. But basically all Chuan's doing here is pulling. And again, he goes on to win this game. He's only, what, level 3? He still hasn't put any points into his second or third skill. He just now is getting boots at near the 6-minute mark by the time Puppy would already have a level 6 Enigma in the jungle. And he's going to get some more tangos. Really, all he's doing is staying in lane and pulling for his carry. And I guess keeping watch out for the Puppy Night Stalker, especially if there's an Ion Shell. It is nighttime. That's probably the most important thing that he could be doing, is protecting his carry. He sees the Night Stalker coming in now at 6 minutes and 11 seconds. He nevertheless continues to just pull the lane. He doesn't care that that's going to put pressure on the tower by the enemy creeps coming in. Perhaps that's because he knows he's going to have to fight under the tower anyway because there's a Night Stalker. This is probably one of the safest things that he can do. Actually, maybe he did that because he knew that the Night Stalker was actually pulling the creep wave down below. I don't know if you saw that or not, but they had actually pulled Night Stalker. Okay, so there's actually a fight here. Universe is actually caught out. Chuan went ahead, leveled the glimpse, leveled the kinetic field, was able to get a kill on him, but Gyrocopter pushes in too far. He's going to get killed by Arteezy on that Queen of Pain. Eternal Envy came up on the Lifestealer as well. He's already level 6. So that was a nasty little fight. Just to review kind of what happened there. This pull is happening up here while this pull is happening down below, and maybe Chuan knew that, so it was okay to not... it's okay to actually pull when there's no creeps in your lane. That's normally you don't do that because there's creeps that are sitting up here and they're going to be under your tower, and you're not going to be able to get your creep blast hits on your creeps. So in this particular case, you're about ready to watch a gank. Starts off with the kinetic field, goes ahead, puts the thunder strike on top of the Darkseer, just in case the Darkseer gets away. You can easily glimpse the Darkseer back. Even though the Darkseer puts on his little speed, his surge, and tries to run away, it doesn't matter. You've got the Thunder Strike on top of him, and you can just glimpse him back into the lane under the kinetic field if necessary. And then if you do the kinetic field before the glimpse, that maximizes the amount of time that the Darkseer is stuck in that area. It didn't actually work out because they lost the Darkseer, but that's all right. Again, they win this game. So, you know, by that time, this time in your scrub matches, you're probably going to have people out there, oh, I lost, you know, good game. Good game, top sucks, good game. But that's not how real games work, at least when the players are good. Maybe in a scrub match it's game lost. I don't think so. But so now he's taking this lane. He's level 4. Currently, the Gyrocopter is looking at Chuan sitting in the lane. Gyrocopter's heading out there. He saved his TP. He's not going to use his TP. So meanwhile, that's fine because the Disruptor needs some levels. Disruptor is, you know, a support hero, and he needs a lot of levels so he can get most of his damage out, most of his control out. He's not too much about money, but he really does need those levels. So he sits in the lane while the Gyrocopter walks back. That's fine. So if necessary, the Gyrocopter can TP out. Continues once again pulling the lane. He, by the way, did purchase on the Courier, which is coming out to him right now, a smoke, and he purchased something else. I can't remember what that was. About to see here. Okay, so smoke and a ward. Which, as you'll see in the other broadcasts, that's pretty much all these supports do. Smokes, wards, support items that are, you know, helpful for the rest of the team. No carry items, not yet. You don't see him rushing some kind of Ags or a refresher or whatever it is. He is supporting, first and foremost. And when you have, I watched Diggity play, Cinderins play as a Venomancer on Diggity, and all he really did was buy wards, even though he already had wards. He's a Venomancer. He starts off with wards, but he went ahead and bought wards anyway. So, and I see a lot of this over and over again. Sorry, I just wanted to take a look at that gank there. What I'm seeing over and over again when it comes to warding up here is wards right here on the corner. And I'm guessing that's because they want to be able to see what's going on. Not just here to kind of see who's coming down the lane. They want to get the most advanced notice possible, but also be able to see what's coming down in the river. Maybe also because he intends to glimpse the Darkseer, and he needs to be able to see the Darkseer. He can quickly come in, get a kinetic field right here in this area, and then he can go ahead and glimpse the Darkseer if the Darkseer runs away, because he'll have the Thunderstrike on there. Currently, he has level 3 glimpse, so he is leveling the glimpse, putting priority on leveling the glimpse, which makes a lot of sense if you're up against a Darkseer in this lane. The Darkseer cannot be in this lane. If the Darkseer goes anywhere up here, the Darkseer's dead. And that's one of the reasons why you see a Disruptor picked against a Darkseer. Very strong counter, prevents Darkseer from getting a lot of levels. Darkseer has to leave the lane and go farm somewhere else. So you'll see here as Hal is pushing with the Gyrocopter onto the tower, which is the reason why one of the benefits of being able to kill one of the benefits of being able to kill the oh, okay, so he TP's mid. Glimpses back Arteezy, does not go in for the kill. It looks like maybe that was a miscommunication on their part about whether that should happen. Probably didn't mean to do that. But anyway, this is one of those little features of this game that's really interesting if you think about it. You go back up here, you've got a really strong lane counter to a Darkseer. You force Darkseer with your lane counter out of the lane. Well, what do you do when there's a hero out of the lane? You push the tower. Look, it's already down to 125 health. You push the tower with that advantage. That is one of the great benefits to it. You don't just get your carry lots of experience and lots of good items. He already has a Helm of the Iron Will. He's already got phase boost. He's already got Ring of Aquila. He's basically free farming here. But that's one of the benefits of lane dominance, is you can quickly push a tower, and then you force pressure on the enemy team. You force him to either come back up here and risk himself being ganked, or you force another hero or two. You force players to rotate on the map to try to come up here and protect this tower, or they give up the tower, and you get a free tower without having to really expose yourself to any kind of damage. So that is one of the nice reasons why they would pick a Disruptor into a Darkseer in this particular lane. And I wonder, going forward with this particular replay, how much of an effect that had in the game, and we'll see. Chuan is currently in middle lane, and you'll see that as soon as he left middle lane, Darkseer's back in top lane. He really needs to get those experience. Now, Darkseer's actually level 7, and I'm assuming that's because he went out and jungled and did other things. And that's, really good. That's why Universe is basically the world's best Darkseer. Maybe ROTK is a close second. I don't know. But, yeah. So let's continue back on the player perspective of Disruptor. So he's sitting in mid lane, probably to get some experience while mid lane is gone. Mid lane was being played by the Invoker. Invoker was now farming at the top, probably trying to be a little careful there. I don't know if he just survived a gank attempt or if he put some things on cooldown as part of an aggressive gank attempt himself. So, okay, Chuan is going back up top, and he does not have a ward, he does not have a TP, but he does have boots. And of course, boots are a very important item for a support to have. If you look at this team, everybody in this team is going to need some mana. Mana-deprived heroes like a Tusk. Actually, Tusk isn't bad. He has boots too, though. But you got the Invoker. Lots of mana requirements on an Invoker. Lots of mana requirements for a Gyro to continue to casting all of his low cooldown spells. And a Bot Rider as well. Not a ton of mana, but it's really great for him to be able to keep outpouring lots of damage. And of course, for the Disruptor himself, he needs lots of mana to be able to cast a Static Storm, Kinetic Field, Glimpse, and Thunderstrike. He's going to cast pretty much all of these abilities in a big team fight. And if he doesn't have mana boots, he probably won't be able to get all of them off. Well, he might be, but he might also be in a position where he's only at half mana and won't be able to do that. So there's some communication on the field right now. They are clearly attempting to try to defend this bot lane. They have the glimpse. If they can get some vision on this bot lane, they smoke. They don't want to scare everybody off too quickly. Maybe there's a ward over here they don't know about. So the Tusk, so if you remember from the other video, Tusk was like in the lane. Nobody knew he was in the lane. So they actually set this up very, very well. They smoke in. The Tusk was a good distraction. Newbee wanted to stop that tower push, and they did so by smoking, preventing any vision from a ward that might be up there. And I believe there is a ward up there, by the way. And there's actually a ward right here. You can see the ward just right there. That's not a very good ward to be able to see that smoke coming, or to be able to see the gank coming, but if they're under smoke, it doesn't matter anyway, which is what happened. And it's why they lost why Secret lost a Queen of Pain and a Night Stalker to just a Bat Rider. And I think a Tusk did die. But that's a decent trade. Arteezy is probably going to have, he already had 2 kills at that point. It's really good to get him a kill, get a kill on him. Okay, so after being a part of that lane, going up, getting some health, regenning, he's going to go back down to mid to support Tusk, who's currently trying to deal with I guess that was a Night Stalker there. Or that was a Queen of Pain. And now they have a position. They're in a position to gank. All they need is a Thunder Strike. They can do a Glimpse. They can actually kill this Queen of Pain if they have vision. There's the Glimpse. It's going to be probably an ult. No ult because the ult is down. They get the kill anyway. Chuan's going to continue to put pressure on Pylai Die, but he's going to need to back up because he basically can't do anything for another 2 or 3 seconds. Glimpse is back up in 2 seconds. This is a perfect opportunity. This is why Disruptor is a really nasty hero, because every single time you think Glimpse is... I mean, you can't really depend on Glimpse being down. You always have to think, well, Glimpse is up, because its cooldown is 18 seconds at level 4. It's one of the reasons why he leveled Glimpse so quickly, so that if necessary, they can continue to steamroll the enemy team. They got another kill on the Queen of Pain. They could have easily brought somebody else back and glimpsed them back if they had the vision and was set up properly. So he's staying in mid lane. He's staying way behind the Invoker. He wants to... I guess he's actually pushing forward a little bit. He may want to be able to get a Thunder Strike and Glimpse, but not if the enemy team's across the river. They're not going to do that. Looks like he's going to go for the Glimmer Cape. Fantastic item for a hero like him. If necessary, he can get aggressive and go in and get a Thunder Strike on somebody and glimpse them back, or can just go in and glimpse them back, or he can disappear. Makes a lot of sense against big magic heroes like the Ion Shell and the and the Pylai Die ult. He can quickly cast his spells, go ahead and cast Glimmer Cape, or he can use it offensively, or defensively or offensively with his teammates. He doesn't have to use it on himself. Overall, very good support item, and one that's cheap to build up.
Bottom tower is under attack.
So
middle tower is under
he's
attack.
currently sitting in this bottom lane. Notice his positioning is on the far right side. He doesn't want to get screwed here by a gank. He doesn't want to be the first one to die, because he really needs to be somebody who counter-initiates or initiates himself. He doesn't want to be the first one to die. So he puts a ward down, see if he can see what happens. Currently, he's not casting any spells. He's basically sitting at... Actually, he did cast some spells. Let me go back and see what exactly he was doing.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So that's actually looks like one of the reasons he went down here and the team went down here is because they did see Pylai Die leave. Which means Pylai Die is not going to be in the area. They're going to be down. Enemy team's going to be down 1 man. And they want to push this tower. They've got a really good 5-man. They can get pickoffs with the Bat Rider. They can get pickoffs with the Disruptor. They can protect themselves against Queen ults with the Tusk. Alright, so we're watching this team fight again. It's clear that they know that there's somebody in the jungle. They're being very, very careful. That's why he's sitting in the woods right now.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So they're leading with the Bat Rider and the Tusk. Disruptor sitting back with Howl. So he goes ahead and he casts... He looks like his target was Arteezy. He wants to be able to glimpse back Arteezy if necessary. He already glimpsed somebody else back. I'm not even sure who did that. Who he did that to, because I'm Scrub and I can't pay attention to everything that's going on here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Let's see where the kinetic field goes.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower.
First thing he does, he's the one that I think puts down the sentry ward. So I don't see any kinetic fields, but apparently there was a kinetic field somewhere. He did cast it. I'm sorry, not kinetic field. Thunder Strike. He cast the Thunder Strike into Glimpse on the Queen of Pain. That's what happened. Because he glimpsed somebody back up here,
Radiant's bottom tower
which is actually
is
one of the
under attack.
one of the very first things he did, I
Dire's
believe.
middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower
And he puts
is
down the
under
sentry
attack.
ward. They're smoked, so he knows what's going on here. So they get vision on the Night Stalker, so that's who he glimpses back. Now, unfortunately, that didn't work out so well because the Night Stalker is actually tanky enough, and they weren't able to focus that target. So he actually cast a glimpse on the wrong person, or maybe he just tried to get the Night Stalker out of the battle. That might have been part of the tactic there. They ended up killing the Night Stalker, and they ended up losing a Bat Rider. Not sure that was worth it. Okay, so continuing into the fight, this fight goes on a little bit further. They were able to almost kill Arteezy. They continue to push in the woods. Blows his magic wand. He's looking around. It's clear that he's trying to be the frontliner here. He's trying to get a glimpse on somebody. They notice the Darkseer. Immediately kinetic fields Pile Die. He gets stuck in the Tusk Snowball. He's trying to run away. He can't. He ends up dying. But that was what he was doing. He's playing Disruptor sometimes defensively when his entire team is there, but also against, once his team is down a man, it looks like he got a little more aggressive, and he wanted to see if he can get a kill once the enemy team retreated. And that, I think, is really why Disruptor is such a good hero. Because of Glimpse, all you have to do is get a little vision for just 1 second. You put a Thunder Strike on there, and boom, you're going to be able to glimpse anybody back to where they were. Your whole team gets in place, and far better than a Pudge Hook. You're able to pull somebody out and get a nice kill, start steamrolling. So he picks up some wards, Observer and Sentry wards. He does have, I think Tusk has been purchasing some wards here, so that's nice. He doesn't have to go super position 5 on this, which is great. In fact, Tusk and him appear to be both in the same position, kind of 2 position 4s. So notice his position during the siege. He's not even crossing the river. Gyrocopter is across the river, putting pressure, and Chuan is not anywhere in sight of the enemy. They have no idea where he is. They don't know what's going on. It's very important because if the Gyro and it starts retreating, and the enemy team follows to try to kill Gyro, Gyro should be able to take a few hits, come all the way back across the river, and then Glimpse is going to work. So here's what's going on. Unfortunately, Gyro is going to die because there's an entire team there. I bet you he casts his ult here. He puts a Thunder Strike on there. He's probably going to Glimpse. There's a Glimpse back, probably an ult. He already ulted in the mid, which actually helped get a kill there. He's actually part of the reason that Night Stalker died dish there. And then, of course, you kill 2 heroes, then no matter how strong this Lifestealer is, he's probably going to die, but he actually ends up TPing out because Arteezy comes in. Now, once again, this is a big key kill here. Arteezy comes in, cleans up a few people. He gets vision on Arteezy, glimpses Arteezy back. What a fantastic play. Right into a kinetic field. Arteezy dies. There's nothing Arteezy could have done, even though you got a Queen of Pain on the field. So you got a hero like Night Stalker, who's very fast and runs away. You've got a hero like Darkseer, who's very fast and runs away. And you've got a Queen of Pain, who's very fast and runs away. More like jumps away. But the counter to that activity is a glimpse. Just takes 1 glimpse, and as long as you have a little bit of vision, you're good. And Bat Rider helps provide that vision. And the Thunder Strike helps provide that vision as well. Not to mention, if you were Invoker and you cast a Sunstrike, you would also have vision. Okay, so he's able to pick up the Cloak, which is going to help him take a little bit of damage. He actually is not building any kind of health items. And, a lot of people, myself included, like to build health items on a Disruptor. But I think he's trying to focus more on being the support player. He knows he's going to die, but his positioning, I think, really helps prevent some of his deaths. And he's playing it very well. His teammates are protecting him. You got a Batrider right here that's going to be able to protect him. Oh, he cast a preemptive ult on this area to try to stop the gank from Lifestealer. Unfortunately, that's a complete waste. But maybe it saves his life. Maybe it keeps the Lifestealer from getting that extra kill he needs to get that extra item. Not dying is important. Unfortunately, he has died. Disruptor's died twice, but it's clear that the times that he's died, it's because pretty much his whole team has died. It's not because he's the front liner and ends up getting killed and contributes nothing. He's doing good work. He's staying in the lane. He's getting levels. He's counter warding. He's getting ganks on the enemy team. He's preventing himself from dying as much as possible. And so once again, we have 3 heroes in the bot lane. It's not really clear what he wants to do here. Okay, so they see Pili die over there in the jungle. They're trying to be careful. I guess they're letting Batrider get some vision. Okay, so they smoke up at 21 minutes. They got another smoke. They're heading south. It's nighttime. Actually, I think the Night Stalker just made it nighttime. Batrider's in the air. They're going to get a kill on Arteezy here. This is really huge. Thunderstrike is going to be on Arteezy, so even if he glimpses, jumps away, Glimpse is coming back. So there you go. The Disruptor just killed the Queen of Pain when many other heroes would not have been able to get that kill. Because of the range of a Queen of Pain, he gets the kill. And that's very, very important. He's shutting down probably the highest damage dealer right now on Secret. And he's preventing Arteezy from steamrolling. And my understanding is sometimes Arteezy tilts a little bit, so maybe he's putting Arteezy on tilt. They're going to use this advantage without the Queen Pain to go ahead and take Roshan. That was interesting. I'm not sure why he put a kinetic field up there. Maybe it gives vision. So I guess he wanted to see what was going on up there. He had a sentry ward, so maybe he puts a kinetic field up there just to see what's going on. He is not in the Roche pit. He wants to be able to counter-initiate if people go on his team during the Roche. That's why he counter-wards, he sets up, and he stands outside. He's not inside. There's no reason. He does such little damage. He does 80 damage per hit. His attack speed is very, very slow. Thunderstrike is not an ability you want to have on cooldown when a Queen of Pain jumps in and starts doing a ridiculous amount of damage. You want to be able to pull those heroes back. So that's smart play. Yeah, you might do 80 damage per hit, but your grand total amount of damage you're going to do to Roshan is ridiculously low. So why even bother? Better to play the defensive game, get the Roshan. So he goes in, he wards across the river. He had no vision of the high ground. He had no idea of whether or not the enemies were there, except for Pili just killed the Tusk. So he knew, based upon that information, that the enemy players were probably a little bit further south and probably could go ahead, and he could probably ward right there without causing any problems. Another thing he did here is he actually warded slightly apart. The wards are slightly apart from each other. Although the other ward died just as he was, the other ward was getting dewarded by Pili. But he warded a little bit differently. He warded put a little space between his wards so that both wards were not dewarded by a single sentry. So right now, you know, this is an interesting situation. They are up a little bit. It's a very, very close game. Disruptor is very vulnerable to being ganked by pretty much any of the members of the team. He could be killed almost by he can definitely be killed by a lion pretty easily just by being out there. He is not exposing himself except when he's got teammates, like a Batrider. This is the gank squad. This is a Batrider. This is, I believe it's a Tusk. And this is the Disruptor. And this is it. This should be a kill on Eternal Envy. You've got the ult to silence Eternal Envy. He can't cast his ability to his Enrage to prevent the magic damage. And 3 people are able to get a kill. Mu did not actually need to be there on the Invoker. He could just Sunstrike, but he gets the extra experience. He gets a little bit of gold for being there. And that's nice. And yet another gank. So they've ganked the Queen of Pain using the Glimpse and the Thunderstrike, and they ganked the Lifestealer using the Kinetic Field and the Static Storm. Both carries now, you know, you can't cast your Rage and prevent a Glimpse and a Thunderstrike if you're a Lifestealer when you're under a Static Storm. So, you know, really a key hero in this game is the Disruptor. And it's important that he's able to get these abilities off. So that's why the smokes and the 3-man kill squad is very effective. So in terms of his build, he went ahead and got Kinetic Field up the next highest level. He's only using Thunderstrike as damage. He's quickly moving. He's quickly moving south here, see if he's going to be able to help out the Invoker on a gank. He didn't need to. It turns out Invoker got the kill, but if necessary, he would have had the Glimpse. And that's really nice to know if you're a team. Say, hey, we should be able to get this kill on TPing, and you only need 2 people. You don't need 3. You know, you don't need 3, so you can blow them up so fast. So he went ahead and leveled his Kinetic Field. That makes a lot of sense. He doesn't need tons of damage from Thunderstrike, because Thunderstrike doesn't really do that much damage. His build is Magic Wand, be able to get that little last-minute health there. He wants to be able to get a little bit of last-minute mana, in addition to his mana boots. He finally picked up the Glimmer Cape here. He's got another ward. So let's see what he does with this Glimmer Cape and how he's going to be using it, either defensively or offensively, maybe on himself. I'm a scrub, and I don't really know how he's going to use that and why it was a really good pickup here. He's going for a Force Staff, and that makes a lot of sense. Disruptor has no escape mechanism whatsoever, except for maybe Kinetic Field and Glimpse, but those are not really good escape mechanisms. You can, generally speaking, die in a pretty fast if you are a Disruptor under pretty much any of these heroes. And you need to be able to cast a Static Storm so they can't just jump out of the Kinetic Field. So that's a very expensive defensive concoction. You have to cast 3 very high mana, very important spells that you don't want to be doing. And then this Static Storm has a decent cooldown. It's 80-second cooldown. All right, another smoke under 30-minute mark. You've got a 4-man death squad now, probably going to be joined by the Invoker, although the Invoker doesn't need to be there because he has Sunstrike. So they're going to go in through the jungle. Chuan is now behind the Bat Rider. He's in position to be able to Glimmer Cape if necessary. What does he choose to do here? He puts a Thunderstrike on Puppey to make sure he guarantees the kill. He doesn't need to do anything else. If Puppey was to run away, he would have glimpsed. He did not use the Glimmer Cape. There's no reason to do that. And he's probably going to go in here and ward offensively. There's no way Secret is going to be in this area because they just lost a very important frontline bruiser, and they're going to get steamrolled if they have anybody in the area. So Chuan knows it's okay to go ahead and go forward and get that ward up. If necessary, he can Glimmer Cape, and that is perhaps the way he's using this as a kind of a escape mechanism to help him get away. In addition, if you combine that with the Force Staff, it's very effective. People have no idea where you've gone. So during the high ground siege, he sits back. He is very far away. He's the furthest away from anybody on the map, even the Invoker. And that makes sense because the Invoker needs to be in a damage-dealing position. He does not. He doesn't do damage.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Chuan checking the scores. I'm going to see who's got kills and deaths. All right, so here's a play where it's probably going to be important if you can get a Thunderstrike. He's actually staying away. So you pass the Kinetic Field in the mid lane, cast the Static Storm on top of Arteezy and Eternal Envy. That's very important so they can shut them down a little bit. Here's the glimpse back on our the Lifestealer. Not going to be effective. Lifestealer gets in the Queen of Pain. He does have his Kinetic Field recharged. He was able to get that off. Thunderstrike's Pile Die, does a little bit of extra damage. He's now going to turn on Puppey, the Night Stalker. He's maybe able to get a glimpse. He's currently silenced. He's got 2 seconds. Going to get vision. And did he get the kill? I think he glimpsed. I think he actually glimpsed the Night Stalker away from the tornado. That was probably a miscommunication there. Or no, I guess it was on cooldown. Maybe the tornado just didn't hit. But he did Glimmer Cape away and then TP. So that is his escape mechanism. And that's very effective. So it's 30 minutes into the game. They just had a team fight. Newbee lost 3 heroes. Pretty big team fight loss, I'd say, for them. They weren't able to get Arteezy. They weren't able to get Eternal Envy on the 2 cores, the 2 big cores. Not the best situation. They did get a couple kills there, but... So what is he doing right now? I mean, you see a lot of supports at this point in the game where they basically just go, they just stand there because they can't do anything. Or they go out and they farm the lane, which is usually death, because somebody can easily gank you. In this particular case, he is continuing his ward mission. He's actually being very aggressive here. He does have a ward in the bottom, near the bot lane. You can see he can see who's going, coming and going. So he does actually. He may have more information than I would imagine he would have in this point from just that ward. So maybe he uses that ward to go ahead and ward around Roche. It's clear they want to go ahead and take Roche, get the gyrocopter, another Aegis of the Immortal. They're sitting around his 5, and his positioning is basically ward and then get back. Ward and then get back. Play defensive, protect Hal on the gyrocopter. He does have these wards so he can see what's going on. He might be able to get a gank if the opportunity presents itself. Now, Tusk is further south. Tusk is kind of the roaming Vision at this point. It's really what he's doing is he's playing Vision. He's bait. And if necessary, if somebody goes on him, they should be able to get a pretty good counter. This is the point in the game where you hear a lot of commentators talk about how this is where it's safer to be in your jungle or in your enemy's jungle than in your own jungle, and there's pretty good evidence for this. You've got 2 enemy heroes sitting in 2 secret heroes sitting in Newbee's jungle, and all of, or almost all of, Newbee's heroes sitting in Secret's jungle. Because that's where you get the ganks. That's where you prevent your enemy, trying to choke off your enemy team from farming their own jungle, which is usually the closest, forcing your enemy team to go all the way up here, expose themselves to ganks, so on and so forth. But when both teams are doing the same thing, I guess it's not, doesn't really matter all that much. But they're being very defensive. They're staying near this Roche pit. It sounds like what they're ready to do, it looks like what they're ready to do, is Roche, as soon as Roche is up, they want to be able to quickly get in there, and they want to fight around Roche. They do have really good team fight. With the Gyrocopter, the Invoker, the Tusk, and the Disruptor alts. They've got the pick-off potential with the Bat Rider, the High Vision. Of course, Secret really does have good team fight too. The Arteezy ultimate on the Queen of Pain is going to do a lot of pure damage. Pylai dies, Legendary Lion's going to be able to probably get somebody really low, do a lot of damage. You've got the Universe, Legendary Universe played by Legendary Darkseer played by Universe. He's going to be able to do some serious damage, especially get a nice illusion on that Gyrocopter with a nice Darkseer alt. So they are going to go into the Roche pit. They want to see what's going on. There is Roche. He has a ward. He, once again, wards. You can see the same setup. He does the same thing. He wards to try to get vision as best as he can. He wants to make sure he's not going to get ganked from any angle. He doesn't know where the enemy is. The enemy probably knows that they're here at this point. Okay, so there's the Wild Wing Ripper coming in. So the Secret knows what's going on. The question is, what does Secret do? Secret's in the top lane. They're not going to be able to react to this. There's no way. So what does he do? He immediately goes to the Roche pit and helps finish the Roche. He does not stay back any longer. There's no need for that. He wants to finish the Roche quickly, and push the lane. So that's a very smart play. He stays back and doesn't know what's going on. He spends all of his wards defending against the Roche pit because it could have been a big fight. He needs to be able to give his team the maximum advantage to know by giving the maximum amount of information they can possibly get. I guess the Wild Wing Ripper was actually their Wild Wing Ripper. So they're pushing, and they're going to probably get a couple of racks here. He is way far back. Look how far back he is. Of course, he's got the... guess he got more wards. That's all he got. So he was way far back there to get wards. Now he's sitting far back. He's making sure there's a decent amount of space between any of him and his friends. He doesn't want to get Queen of Pain alted, Universe alted, into the whole team dies. He wants to prevent that. They push the lane. They get the racks. They back up to mid. They want to be able to push this this lane next. They also have Invoker going top to help start the split push, try to push out these lanes as much as possible. They do have really good vision over here in the enemy jungle. Well, they have decent vision in the enemy jungle. He doesn't really have vision anywhere else, so that's probably why he has wards. He's trying to I guess he's ready to go, and just in case he's in a position to be able to ward. He's not just like running out there and warding by himself. Notice that. That's probably a recipe for death. If he is running anywhere, he's running pretty close to within the area where he already is, or where his teammates already are. He does have a Glimmer Cape, so he can escape for short distances, but he can't go clear across the map and then try to disappear. So they're not pushing mid lane. They're not pushing top lane. Secret is pushing top lane. Instead, they're in the jungle. And maybe they're trying to see how Secret react to this. Maybe they're trying to go around. Maybe I guess get a surprise on the mid lane if possible. You see a lot of that would if this was a scrub match, low level match, you would have had Secret be in the middle lane defending against that creep push, and then by flanking, Newbee would have come in and totally screwed whoever's sitting in that lane trying to defend against it. So that's a pretty decent tactic overall. Okay, so he Glimmer Capes in the mid lane. He's going down here. I think he wants to see what's going on. Wants to be in a position to help the Batrider gank. I'm curious to see if he does that again and what its purpose is. I'm assuming they've practiced that. Maybe he just was afraid. He wasn't sure what was going on. He needed to get some vision. Maybe he was getting ready to ward. Not really sure. Notice he always has a TP on him, and that's just standard. I don't think that's like good play. I don't think that's like professional play. I think that's just like decent play. Okay, so they're sieging high ground, and once again, look where he is. His vision is over here. He's looking to see where the enemy heroes are. He's not afraid of being flanked. So now when the initiation comes, I should say counter by Secret, what does he do? He's making the calculus. He's calculating that it's probably best not to go. Now maybe that's because, I don't know if he's captain or not. He might be captain. I don't know if Hal's captain. I don't know who's captain on this team. I'm not sure it shows that. No, I don't know. But somebody made the decision to back off. They did not want to take that fight. Now here he goes. Glimmer Capes in offensively. He's going to get a Thunderstrike, but he can't put a Thunderstrike on top of the Rage. He's going to get Vision with the Tusk. He's going to ult on top of what he thinks are heroes. He's not going to get that. He's going to be able to get a kill on Pile Die. The question is, going to kill on Lifestealer. Big ult by the Darkseer. Does a lot of damage. Tusk is going to die. What is he doing? He's just... he's basically just Kinetic Field. He wasn't able to get a lot of stuff off there. I'll go ahead and review that fight just to make sure we see everything that he does. So he clicks mid, or somebody clicks mid. They see a hero. He Glimmer Capes in. He's ready for the Thunderstrike, but he just can't do it. So that's when the Tusk comes in. That's when Chuan ults. He misses his ult. It's a very bad miss, unfortunately for him. He comes in. He puts a Thunderbolt on someone, and then he Kinetic Fields. And that's all he can really contribute. If he were to win that fight, the Thunderbolt would have been important because he would have been able to pull the hero back, but he doesn't win that fight. His team loses the fight. Hal's going to get killed here. Lose the Aegis. He does not have, Chuan does not have enough money for buyback, so it's up to his team to do this. And they're able to get a head kill on Night Stalker. Not really sure why Secret left that. I guess they did the calculation that that was not going to be a good fight for them to stick around on. Hal with full life is pretty nasty. Hal at the moment has a Satanic, which he did not use. He has a BKB. So yeah, they probably would have taken a significant amount of damage. He has a Butterfly. He's going to do... yeah, like 270 damage very rapidly with his flat can. He's going to have another call down all the Rocket Barrage. He very well could kill the entire enemy team, so that makes sense why they went back after the Aegis was blown. And they didn't want to lose any. They could have lost to the heroes. They'd rather not do that, give more feed to the Gyro, which is currently going, I guess that's an MKB there. Okay, so 40 minutes. Disruptor has pretty much all. He did not, by the way, put skill points in. I might have done that because Thunderstrike's being used solely as, well, almost solely as a counter, or not a counter, but as a vision tool. But he decides to put damage in it. And to be fair, it's not bad. It's going to do 400 damage in an AoE, and every little bit of damage helps at this point, especially if there's big team fights. And if that's all he can get cast off, then hey, at least he's done 400 damage times however many heroes that are sitting in that. Plus, he's going to be able to get the vision. So it's not bad, but there are many other things that he would want to level up first. His contribution, his major contribution as a laner is not going to be Glimpse. So he's now Glimmer Caping in. He wants to get a little bit of vision. He is acting as an initiator. In addition to Tusk, they're kind of working together to initiate. He Glimmer Capes, he moves forward, he gets vision. If he gets vision, he's going to Thunderstrike, and after Thunderstrike, he's going to be able to Glimpse. And before Secret knows it, their hero is now in the grips of 5 newbie players ready to pounce.
Got it.
So he's been saving up for this Force Staff for quite a while. He's not been able to make it work. He's been focusing on buying wards. And in the few videos that I've been casting, it's pretty clear that's pretty much all these supports do. They're always prioritizing wards. Counterboarding and warding. Vision is very, very important. You need to be able to see where the enemy is. You can react better that way. You have more information. You can make better decisions and hopefully win team fights and prevent ganks and get ganks. So he got a little spooked there, and he went ahead and cast a defensive Glimmer Cape. He was farming rather aggressively. That was a little unusual, the way he's been playing this. But I guess he feels like his team's in a pretty decent position to be able to defend any gank that was going to go on him. And he was in a high ground. The enemy was not going to be able to see him unless they had a ward. He didn't know that they didn't have a ward, but I guess he was taking that. He's taking a guess, and he really wants to get this Force Staff. He's only a few hundred gold away, 300 gold away. And his team is all right there, so maybe he made that calculus. But he gets scared and Glimmer Caped away. If you notice, his team pretty much never pushes through their jungle. They let the Invoker push through the jungle. They let the Invoker farm up there. They let the Invoker split push up top. And they just stay down here. What they're doing is they're hopefully, by the Invoker pushing top lane and getting that lane pushed a little bit, they can spot out people, enemies, but they can also keep that jungle from being occupied by Secret. Meanwhile, 4 players over here, which is what you really need, are over here to farming. And he's trying to get this farm. You can see he shifted to a higher priority farm so that he can get this Force Staff. They're giving him that priority right now. He's going to be able to get that with these 2 kills. Yeah. There's the Force Staff, and now he's in a great position. So now we get to see what looks like a fully... in a really late game, he would have an Ags, he would have a Refresher. He's not going to do that this game. Instead, he's going for the Force Staff. He's making sure he's more mobile. He's not going to be ganked. And potentially, he's going to be able to get more aggressive jumps on the enemy. With Glimpse, that is definitely something you can do. A lot of the heroes, you can jump in and you can stun, but where are your friends? In this particular case, he can Kinetic Field, he can Static Storm, and then once they start running away, he can Glimpse them back. And so there's really nothing an enemy can do. And typically, they're going to lose a hero. If he catches out a low-level hero, that hero's dead. His team will get there much faster than the other team. So I'm not sure why he Glimmer Caped there. Maybe he thought that there were people in the area. I didn't see anybody. He can see that there's people down south on the map. This is that point in the game where every little bit of vision counts. You need to be able to see what's going on. The Night Stalker's vision is really strong. he's going to be able to see almost everywhere. They have to be very careful. They're trying to wait for Roche, so... And that's another reason to always stay down here, is it kind of creates a situation where Secret can't... they can't just really quickly... They can't be sitting around Roche to get there very quickly because they know the entire enemy team is there. That's another reason to be in that area to prevent Secret from being able to Roche. So he was in a bad position. He Glimmer Capes away. He's going to be able to get his ult off and his kinetic field right here. There it is, the ult, the kinetic field, but he's going to die. He tries to glimpse Arteezy back. He actually is able to do that, but Arteezy just blinks right back in and gets the kill. And they lose this fight, and that's perhaps because of his bad positioning. They might have been able to do a better job if he had been in a better position, but he was in the Roche pit, and that was different from all the previous times he had been in the Roche pit. Meanwhile, the two cores, Mu and Hao, are searching for kills. They want to get a kill here. They're at full strength. They're in a great position. They would find out a Night Stalker, potentially. Get a kill on Night Stalker. Now they just run into two heroes. Night Stalker ults, and they get the hell out of dodge, which makes a lot of sense. They don't know where the two cores and the Night Stalker are. Two heroes are great, and they're very strong right now, but one Night Stalker silence on either one of them, and they're not going to be doing very well. Not to mention a Queen ultimate, if it's still up, and it probably is. She probably has Ags by now. I'm assuming they all know that. Yeah, she does not have Ags. She has a Veil of Discord. She has a Shiva's Guard, Scythe of Ice, and BKB. So they're back at it. They've now decided to push the mid lane. They do have an Aegis up on the gyro. This is a good time to push. They're very strong right now. Once again, Chuan stays in the back. It appears as though when they're pushing the lane, Chuan stays back. When they're looking for a gank or they're anticipating an attack, he stays. He either goes way forward or he stays back. So he hasn't done anything yet. He goes ahead and puts the Thunderstrike on Arteezy just to be sure he can counter Arteezy if you try to blink away. He would cast a Glimpse on the Lifestealer there if he needed to, but his team get a really nice start on that fight. And here's an example of where they can keep pushing because they've taken almost no damage. Hao has a Satanic. Chuan, if necessary, can glimpse somebody back if they ever get an advantage. So he's currently silenced. I'm not sure how he got silenced. Oh, because the Night Stalker's running behind him. That's how. So he was trying to get the vision on the Night Stalker so he can glimpse the Night Stalker back. Puppy, being a smart player, knows he needs to get the hell out of the way. Hal's taking a lot of damage, but he might be able to use a Satanic. I'm not sure if the Satanic has worked yet. He Glimmer Capes. Chuan Glimmer Capes Hal, try to prevent that. Prevent from dying. He goes ahead and ults, Kinetic Fields, does a ridiculous amount of damage. He's going to kill Puppy, and they're going to wrap this up. It's going to be game. So, I didn't see anything here that honestly was like a legendary tactic. I didn't see anything that he did that made him like the most badass disruptor you've ever seen. Just overall solid play, not making any mistakes, staying in the back lines when there's a push going on to the tower. He doesn't get out of position. He keeps his kills very, very low, or his deaths very, very low. And he only had one kill there, but that's not his job. He's there for he has 20 assists. He Glimmer Capes Hal when Hal's Satanic is up, and Hal needs to be able to not die for the final push. He gets a Force Staff to position himself and to help save other people if necessary. He wards up constantly, and he does a very good job of getting Thunderstrike on heroes so that he can glimpse them back and put them in position for his team to kill. So if there's anything, and the other thing I think that's important, is that Disruptor is a really good pick this game. Disruptor countered Queen of Pain pretty well. Disruptor countered Darkseer in lane pretty well. Disruptor is not very good against Lifestealer because of Rage, but oftentimes what happens is it doesn't matter that he has Rage because his Rage is gone by the time, the Lifestealer Rage is gone by the time that they're blinking him back. He's going to be in a fight at 100% health. He might rage up to ward off a whole bunch of damage. And then he's doing all this damage, and he's not getting dealt damage, and then all of a sudden the rage is gone. And he didn't buy BKB because that's what rage is for. And then, of course, there's the glimpse back when there's a Thunderstrike on top of him, if that's possible. But you did see how, in many cases, the Lifestealer was able to counter the glimpse because of his ability to enrage and prevent any magic spells from being cast on him. Disruptor in this particular game just seemed to be pretty good against a lot of the enemy team. The Night Stalker, especially, it's really good against teams that are going to retreat, teams that are even potentially hyper aggressive, because you get a team that overextends itself, and all of a sudden, you have a Thunderstrike on top of your head, and you can be glimpsed back in. So I think Chuan played this well. I don't think he did anything particularly amazing. I think your average scrub in a game could play like this. Now, of course, the question is the rest of your team good? Do you have a decent strategy overall? Are you smoking at the appropriate times? That was a very important smoke early on. There's actually 3 important smokes, and I think only one of them failed. He did pick decent items. I'm not sure they ended up really making that big of a difference, other than the boots and the magic stick, probably a little bit of help there, and teleport scrolls and wards. So you can do this, I think, in your games. I'll be doing that in my Disruptor games, and if I lose, I'm just going to blame everybody else for being Dota 2 scrubs. Well, I am Solaris, and this has been another cast of, I guess I'm calling it Scrubcast. I don't know if I have the rights to that, but we'll see. You all have a fantastic day, and good luck and have fun.